Hi there. It is great to see you. Today, welcome to Inside a Leader's Mind. We're going to talk about mindset tools, communication patterns, and how to be an effective leader for ourselves and in our community, in our work, in our life. So, today I am going to be alone. My good friend Alex, he's on travels. He's going to relocate his entire family to Bali. So, I have the honor to go through a couple of questions that came up last week from our community. And I just really wanted to take the time and share with you how to really approach these subjects, right? Because they are very dear. We're all a leader of our life, of my everyday, right? We just started a new week. So ultimately, Monday, how to approach my week, how to approach my environment, my partners, maybe my family. So let's look into this really quick. We have like 20 minutes that we're going to spend with each other. And we just start right away. So here I have a question. How should I speak so that people listen? That is an amazing question. And I thank you, Dario. I think this is very, very important. So this goes out to Dario in Landshut. And I really wanted to honor you just for being that honest and really approach that subject of how to how to make people listen to you, because I can be loud, I can be harsh, I can be mean, I can also try to wrap my voice around people, trying to convince them and speak in very flowery language. This is all possible. What makes you listen the most? Mostly when I feel I'm touched by the person who speaks to me, then I will listen. If that person has pain, if that person expresses any sort of emotion, that makes me listen for sure, right? So when I really want to lead, first of all, myself, but then also others, the most important thing becomes ultimately to be here and connect with these people that I'm leading, okay? If, say, I have a team of 3, a team of 2, doesn't really matter, and I'm only just throwing in ideas, hey, here, there you go, work on it, and then I'm gonna go. People are already on automation, okay? They know you're not actually present. So the feeling that I get when my boss, if I have one, or my partner, comes into the room, and I know he is 100% present there, I'm gonna look, at least for a moment, what he or she has to say. This presence is what makes people listen. This can be triggered by emotion, can be triggered by loud noises, it can be triggered through anything, but I know from my experience, when there is a person with a very strong presence, they don't even have to talk loud. They don't even have to say, anything mean or harsh. They just come into the room and they're here. They're 100% present. So if you really want people to listen to you, be there and listen to them. If I'm here present with you right now, taking 100% of my awareness, of my consciousness, right, into this moment, I listen to you, you will listen to me, because I feel you. And everybody wants to be felt. Okay? So that goes out to this question: how should I speak so that people listen? Listen to them first. Make them feel felt. When people feel felt, when they feel understood, they will listen to you, whatever you have to say. But you have to go first so that people are going to follow, right? That's how leadership functions. Next up, Miriam. She asked us, when I am in a conflict, how do I best communicate as a leader? Very, very good question. Thank you very much, Miriam. Conflicts, they can always happen. The question is, where does it happen? There is always at least 2 parties necessary for a conflict to happen. Be that the inner critic in yourself, be that the outer critic in yourself, or anyone for that matter. But there's always like a second part to it necessary. When I'm in a conflict, I have participated, I have contributed to it. So we have to understand first, I engaged in it. This is my responsibility too. It's not the other person. I'm in a conflict situation because I engage in it. So how to communicate in a conflict situation? as a leader, first of all, let the other person speak. Again, I'm in here, a person, maybe he or she is a partner, maybe from my company, somebody who has a lot of money, or it's just, the new intern who came in and is really upset because he just got bullied and he just, is in this kind of frustration mode. Let him speak. Let him speak everything until there is no more. It's going to trickle out. Maybe that's going to take a while. Maybe depending on how long a person had to put it away and cover it up, that can take a while. But if you want to lead in a conflict, you need to give the other person, again, the room to vent and shoot out. Okay? I'm frustrated. I am triggered by maybe my boss, my partner, my family, whoever, in whatever situation I am. I feel I need to exert that. I need to say it. I need to speak about it. If I am conscious enough as the other person, right? If I'm conscious enough about what's happening here, I can detach myself a little bit and not get triggered by the other person. And then I listen, okay? Right? Tell me more about it. Why was it? Why did that happen? Why are you mad at me? Maybe what did I do to lose your trust? What was it that upset you about my behavior? The moment that I'm asking the other person in a conflict, the other person gets to shoot and reduce their stress level, reduce their tension, and then we can talk. But I need to be reflective enough to realize, wow, this is a conflict, this is friction, right? There is stress here. Okay, how do we deal with stress? That's another question, right? So I hope that's very clear in a conflict situation. First of all, you have to notice that you're in a conflict. That's the tricky part. Second of all, you have to leave the other person vent. Leave them shoot all their bullets. Once they're shot out, at least to some degree, you can start asking questions. How did it come about that you feel that way? And by asking the right question, you are going to lead out of the conflict. But if you're opposing, you're creating the conflict. If you're engaging in a push or pull notion around the conflict, you're always nourishing and co-creating the conflict situation. Yes? I hope that makes sense. When I am stressed out, great question. When I am stressed out, how to still lead effectively? I really love that. Thank you, Matthew. This is very, very important. So first of all, why do I get stressed out? Oftentimes, my needs are not met, usually by myself, especially when I am the leader of a situation, of a company, of a team, of a family sometimes. If I'm stressed out, I already took the wrong turn. Again, I need to be reflective enough to notice that I am stressed out. So by asking this question, why, when I am stressed out, how to still lead effectively, I am assuming you already noticed that you're stressed out. That's the first step. And usually people don't even go there. So I notice I'm stressed out. Secondly, express it. Guys, I'm stressed out at this point. This is how I feel. Communicate your emotion. It is absolutely vital for people to know what's up within you. And they are not responsible to understand that. It's not the responsibility of other people to understand what's going up inside you. You have to communicate that. You have to own these emotions and communicate that. And I know exactly how difficult that can be sometimes. I'm actually rather new to really communicate how I feel, especially when I'm feeling insecure or sometimes weak. That's very, very tricky, especially for people who like to lead, who like to control, to, acknowledge I am stressed. Yes, this is me right now. I'm really sorry. Okay. This is the most important thing. The moment you are showing vulnerability around your emotions, people are much more likely to listen to you. So when I am sharing, yes, excuse me guys, this is a very tricky situation right now for me. I realize that I'm getting stressed up by this. So this is what happened and this is why I'm stressed. Let's talk about it. How do you guys feel around this situation? For many people, when it comes to leadership, I realized that they think it is just to command. But if you want to lead long term, let's say. You're not just, out in the street and something miserable happens and you just have to own the situation, right? Go in there and just, make clear statements. Then it's not about commanding. It's actually about nourishing a community that is reliant on your advice. So a leader is not necessarily just a commander, like this drill sergeant or someone who's just throwing in what everybody should do. On the contrary, as a leader, you have to understand every single aspect of the whole. And that starts with yourself. Because if you don't understand yourself, I'm stressed, I'm feeling sad right now, okay? And it sounds very weird because people are not used to this kind of leadership. But understand one thing. The moment somebody next to you says, I am really stressed out by this, I actually have to deal with this for a moment, I'm sorry, just have to get a cup of water, whatever. People will notice and they will step back with their own emotions for a moment too. That gives you the opening to really start communicating and create again a togetherness of communication, which is absolutely vital if you want to lead long term. People need to feel you too. If you are not available emotionally, how are people ever going to trust you? I mean, long term. Really, they don't feel you. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Thank you, Matthew. Last question for today. How should I communicate critic? Goes into the same direction. Absolutely, 100%. So somebody comes into my room and says, man, Renato, what you told us, it did not work. Absolutely bullshit. I do not agree with your leadership skills, whatever you're saying, and so forth, Wow. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. How do I communicate with this? First of all, I have to, again, be reflective enough. And it seems to be that this is the topic of today's session. To be reflective enough to understand what's going on. Somebody comes into the room and criticizes my entire leadership skills and my decisions that I have done in the past. Okay, that lets me feel vulnerable very quickly and very insecure for a second. Unless I know that I am flawed and that my decisions can fail. So if I have an expectation about myself to be perfect, then critic will hurt me much, much more. If I have an understanding that I am flawed and in a learning process throughout my life and that will hopefully never end until I'm down under, then I'm much more open to critic, because that means, yes, true, let's sit together because maybe I can learn something from you. Can you tell me where I gone wrong? How did it not work? What was the problem exactly? Because I really am here to give the best advice as to go forward. That's my job as a leader. I am supposed to show direction, to make a path. If my direction showing does not work, people won't trust me, they won't follow me. So I have to, first of all, understand that I am in a constant process of learning, developing, and evolving. That means that I can go wrong. I can be wrong. Yes, that's true. If I expect myself to be perfect, flawless, critic will hurt immensely. And I know that from my own experience. I have the tendency of perfectionism. If you have to, you might know what I'm talking about. So perfectionism, being trying to always show just the vibrant side of yourself, always show, like I know exactly how I'm doing it, and also pull leadership toward you instead of having it handed toward you, like control mechanisms, trying to control everything. That is all coming from the idea that you have to be perfect. You don't. I'm really sorry to break it to you. You do not have to be perfect. This is not the mission. Okay? So this is another topic anyway. I hope really that helps you along. How should I communicate critic? Critic for one, so be criticized. I'm sorry, I think I took a detour here. The actual question actually was, how should I communicate critic? So this is how to handle critic, okay? Let's make a little extra. So just to finish off the session today, how should I communicate critic effectively, okay? And that was actually the question here of Sarah. When I see somebody fail, it just goes the same way around. If I expect people to be perfect because I expect myself to be perfect, then I will most probably be very, very harsh in my criticism. Say like, you didn't function, you didn't do this and that. Asking why the person has not done the job that I described in the mannerism that I described it. So how was it for you? Why? So I asked you to really do this and that. Can you tell me why it wasn't possible for you to do that? Or maybe you can also go in and say, like, it was really hard day yesterday, right? Because you noticed her, Sarah in this case, maybe, she had a hard time. She was constantly on her phone, was kind of looking sad. Maybe she had trouble, like in her private life. That can very well be. As a leader, you have to be empathetic and understand that these things are going on. These are all human beings. You're a human being. The moment you expect people to function like a, how do you say, like a clockwork, like a machine, that's when you are becoming very harsh and very rude around your critics. The moment you are empathizing with them and their problems, and maybe you've picked up some of the signals as to why they have not, been able to do that, then it becomes easier for you to lead, again, the conversation around why didn't it work? Because that's really the question you should be asking. So the person had a job, let's just pick any, to finalize the project until Monday, this and that, okay? So it's Monday morning and I'm coming into the room and say like, I'm sorry, I didn't have it on my desk. Can you please give me or hand me over what you have so that I can continue doing my work too? Okay. I don't have it. Okay, why don't you have it? Yeah, because this and that, because no, wait. What was the problem actually? And then you have to take the time, because the problem is when you're bringing your shit into this room and you put it onto the shoulder of the other person bears double. And probably that won't really help the quality of work, right? So the moment I'm coming into the room and I'm assuming already a little bit, right? I'm feeling it out. I sniff it out in the sense that I didn't get it because she didn't finish it. So the person hands it over, whatever she has, and has to admit I'm not done with it. Okay. If you want her to, in the future, to tell you truthfully what's up, you really have to sit down first to her and nurture that trust. Because here's the thing, if you want to motivate people, maybe that's the subject of next week. If you really want to motivate people to work optimum, top level for you, without you putting like extra incentives in and say like you're getting a bonus if you do this and that, you're getting this and that extra if you do this and that. If you really want for people to be part of a company of a work and give their best, they always need to feel like they're in your inner circle. They're your friends. I know most people think that leading is commanding and you should always be above. It's not true. Not out of my perspective. The moment that I have a very strong presence, I have a very clear intent, and I'm steering the ship with everybody involved so that the ship is afloat, that's when I am just one part, maybe the direction giving part, but I'm just one part of the whole. I'm not the most important part of the whole. On the contrary, I'm the connecting element. But without everybody around me, nothing's going to happen. So people need to feel felt. They need to feel as if I care. So I sit down, tell me, what was the problem? I would really love to know. So the moment you start to, when you see that somebody is failing, somebody is doing something wrong, and you do not have the time to sit down, you have to ask yourself, what are the priorities and what is your long-term goal? If you really wish to nourish a team of efficient people, everybody needs to trust each other. The moment we're getting, the more we are separate elements in the construct, there's friction involved and it's not going to go good. People won't work at their top efficiency. That's really my objective when I'm leading. I want everybody involved to work at their top efficiency, at their top game. When people feel like they want to do that, you succeeded. You're a leader. Otherwise, you're just pushy. You're just, trying to get your goal in, trying to get your, ego satisfied. Okay, I really hope that makes sense. I'm really over time a little bit today, but I hope that still was worth for you to sit in. Has been a pleasure for me to really, again, host this little, lunch break, inspiring, whatever you want to call it. I really love it, and I'm really looking forward to have Alex back on the show next week. I wish you a beautiful week ahead. I hope you started it out well. If not, I hope that gave you a little motivation, maybe a little insight how to work around your team, around yourself too. And I'm looking forward to have you back next week, Monday. Bye bye. See you soon.